We are a river city, a bold city, the First Coast, a place to create and to belong. Here, the sun shines a little brighter, and so do the people. We share a love for our region, a pride for Jacks, and a passion for the beautiful game, dedicated to giving everyone a sporting chance. Together, we will elevate soccer and sport in our community by lifting every voice. We are Sporting Club Jacksonville. We are Sporting Jacks.
Hello and welcome into the Sporting Jacks Report. I'm Cole Pepper. Mauricio Ruiz will be along in just a bit. Coming up, a closer look at our high school soccer media day held this week. We'll hear from one of the area's top high school soccer stars, and we'll get Becky Burleigh's thoughts on what's at stake for the U.S. women's national team this month. But we start with the end, as in the end of the USL Championship regular season. This evening, we'll see the final playoff spots locked up as the final match week in the championship is played. And we are loaded with key games that will decide the final teams in the postseason field. We'll take a deeper dive in just a moment, but let's start with what happened on the field last weekend first. Time now for our Island Wing Company USL Championship Game of the Week. And it was a big one that determined one of the final spots, in fact, the final spot as it turned out, in the Western Conference playoff field, as the Las Vegas Lights jockeyed for the second seed in the West, and the Oakland Roots tried to clinch a playoff spot. To the desert we go. And Oakland came into this one outside of the playoff zone in ninth. Remember, the top 8 make the playoffs. Oakland on the attack early, just the 3rd minute. Justin Rasmussen charging down the left side. His shot is saved by Johnny, but Johnny Rodriguez is there to put it away. Oakland goes up 1-0. It's their first goal since October the 5th. 12th minute now, Las Vegas trying to pull level. They get into the box, and this cross attempted to be cleared, but Neville Hackshaw puts it in his own goal. We're level at 1 as you take another look. Nothing for the keeper to do there. Second half now at the hour mark. Oakland's Jose Sinestera plays the hero from outside the box. This one gets past the Vegas keeper. Oakland on top 2-1, and the Roots can start to smell a playoff spot. They wouldn't stop there. 72nd minute. Oakland on a charge again. Same guy who scored the opener, Johnny Rodriguez, parked on the doorstep. His brace gives the Roots the 3-1 lead. Just a beautiful one-touch finish there by Rodriguez. Into stoppage time. And just take another look at Rodriguez's second goal. Las Vegas desperate as the minutes tick by. Valentin Noel launches one from outside of the box. That's a rocket, his 10th goal of the year. Makes it 3-2, but that's as close as Oakland would get. A clutch win for the Roots, winning away in Las Vegas. All right, here are some of the scores in the next to last weekend of the season. Detroit City continues to play very well. Listen, anybody who has a chance to play Miami here late in the year has a really good chance to pick up 3 points. Miami is already looking forward to rebuilding for next year. And look at Pittsburgh. An away victory against Loudoun United, 2-0 for the Riverhounds. We'll have more on the Riverhounds coming up here in just a bit. All right, let's take a look at the standings right now as they sit. This is the West. As a result of that win by Oakland, they jump up to 6th. And they are now in position. They will make the postseason. They have assured themselves of that. All 8 spots are now accounted for in the West. New Mexico United, the top seed. Phoenix Rising, the defending champs. They're the 8th seed, you see. Wasn't a lot to separate there. Just one victory separating Phoenix from San Antonio, who missed out on the playoffs in 9th place. In the Eastern Conference, still some business to be taken care of. Other than Miami, look at this, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all with a chance to get into the top 8 here before the season concludes. Pittsburgh and North Carolina, as of the moment, are in, but they haven't clinched. Tampa Bay, with a victory with a result on Wednesday night, got it done, so they're in. Just 2 spots and 5 teams still involved in the Eastern Conference. So this evening, the final games of the regular season to be played, and there will be some games that will decide those remaining playoff spots. Let's take a closer look at how this schedule lays out. In all, 7 matches have playoff implications on the final line of the season. Just amazing. Mauricio Ruiz, which ones of these on Judgment Day are catching your eye?
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones here. You got some East and West Coast teams that won't see each other during the playoffs. You got a lot of teams that are right on that line. A couple teams have to secure their position. Rhode Island against Miami FC, that's got to be a secure position. And then you got teams that are on that line. Oakland Roots versus Birmingham Legion, and then you got Orange County versus Hartford Athletics. Really 4 teams that are fighting for that 1-2 spot in their divisions.
All right, time now for Mauricio's Corner. And today, Mal, we're taking a closer look at the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, a team that seems to be putting it all together at just the right time.
Yeah, Cole, and it's a team that has the experience of playoffs and the experience of how to finish strong. So 3 games on a spin. And what I'm going to show you here is that they're not really doing it in any one specific way. I've tried to look for trends. Typically, there's a way that teams are winning or how they're going about scoring goals. But there's a team that's just finding a way to win. So I'm going to show you 5 different moments. They're going to go by really fast, but there are 5 different moments of the last 5 goals of the season. So you're going to sit here, set piece, right? You got to win the set piece battle. They weren't winning that early in the season. Kiza, one of the big striker forwards, getting on the end of it. Then you're going to see a bit of an exchange, a run of play, a wide ball with good running into the box, the cutback cross, first time finish. Jacobson, those are the 2 names you got to remember here going into the playoffs. Kiza and Jacobson. Now I got a 3rd goal here against Charleston Battery, one of the top contenders in the league, off of a counterattack. This came off of a corner kick, quick transition. So now you got a goal off of a set piece, you got a counterattack goal, and you got a running play. And then you just have a bit of a second ball chance, a greedy goal here. Staying connected to the line, making sure that you believe in everything, and that's what this team has. Now, really fast, can you go from south to north, get across in, and get a little bit of luck as well. And that's how this team is finding a way to win, going into the end of the season. Coach literally a veteran in the season, finding a way and getting hot at the right time.
Mauricio, we'll have more from Mauricio coming up in just a bit. This past Tuesday, Sporting Jacks hosted the 2nd annual High School Soccer Media Day at the Riverside YMCA. 48 different teams were represented from players from around 6 counties. They got to talk about their teams, their expectations for the season. It all seemed to be a pretty big day for them, and they enjoyed the platform as well as the opportunity.
I think it's really cool opportunity for like everybody and like all high schools in like the country. And I think it's something like really cool. I mean, you get a whole bunch of news reporters out here. You get to like kind of shine some light on your own high school. And I mean, you get food, you get these companies that come out and like try and support their like products and stuff. And I think it's just a really cool event. And
I think it's great. I've like seen so many new faces and familiar faces. And I think it's great to see like who's all here.
Having all like the talent in one room and getting like everyone's perspective from everyone is like great.
Yeah, and it's nice just being able to catch up with old coaches and see people before the actual season starts. So yeah.
I think it gives others opportunity to like show off what they've earned and what they've learned over the years and how they can help others with this.
It's really great just like give a representation of your school and everything. It's just like show up for your school and just like kind of show like what we're about, what our mentality is, how we want to perform on and off the pitch, how we represent ourselves. So I think that's just like really important for us to like show during today for like all the schools like sort of do this and stuff.
And we do want to thank Island Wing Company and the Bearded Pig for providing lunch for the event, and to all the teams who participated this year. Sporting Jacks will be at the Seawalk Pavilion tomorrow, or rather on Sunday, for the next 904 pop-up, that is tomorrow, an event that has a Halloween theme this time around, plenty of vendors and food trucks, and a costume contest as well. Join us at the Seawalk Pavilion tomorrow for the next 904 pop-up. And remember, you can become a member of Sporting Jacks. It's absolutely free. Just go to the sportingjacks.com website. You can sign up there, get discounts on club merchandise, invitations to VIP events, entries into contests for prizes and experiences, and you'll get the Sporting Jacks email newsletter. Plus, you can put your deposit down for season tickets for the Sporting Jacks men's and women's teams and receive an exclusive Sporting Jacks founding member pin. Just go to sportingjacks.com to become a member. Coming up, we hear from Becky Burleigh and get her thoughts on what the U.S. women's team needs to focus on right now. That's next as the Sporting Jacks Report rolls on. next national broadcast for the USL Championship will be the league final, November the 23rd, game to be broadcast nationally on CBS. The teams, of course, to be determined as the playoffs approach. We'll have a closer look at who's in the playoffs next week here on the show. Time now for USL Super League highlights. Let's start with the midweek matchup between Brooklyn FC and Carolina Ascent. This one in New York, 22nd minute. Riley Baisden on the run. Across into Jada Bedoya, who curls it in from just inside the 18-yard box. Take another look here. Beautiful goal right around the keeper. Brooklyn up 1-0. 54th minute, Brooklyn with the corner kick. They play it short. Mackenzie Pluck. And watch this service. Way out on the side. Into Allison Pantuso, who heads it in. It's 1-1, and nobody celebrates goals better than Brooklyn FC. How about the celebration, ladies? Yep, the old archery style, little William Tell. The game ended in a 1-1 draw. Same two teams got together over the weekend in Charlotte. 19th minute, Carolina's Josie Stutter picks out Ashlyn Sarepka in the near post. Her first goal of the season. Carolina takes the early lead. 73rd minute, it's Sarepka again, navigating past the keeper and putting it away. 2 goals for Sarepka, 3 points for Carolina. 2-0 the final to the Ascent. Fort Lauderdale hosting Lexington SC after a slow start. Lexington is starting to come on. 37th minute, Fort Lauderdale up 1-0, but watch this turn and strike by Madison Parsons. A thing of beauty, 1-1. This one is just perfectly placed. Nothing the keeper could do about that. 70th minute, Parsons at it again. The ball over the top, she runs onto it, beats the keeper to the ball, and has an easy one. A brace for Parsons, and Lexington, after a winless first 2 months, now has earned 7 points in the past 3 games. Let's take a look at the USL Super League standings. As of the moment, you see Carolina Ascent, after getting 4 points over the week, had the edge on Brooklyn FC. Top 2 teams were going at it. Fort Lauderdale was hot, starting to cool maybe just a bit. And watch out for Lexington. This is a team that has been, the club that has been playing in the USL League One on the men's side, so they do have some infrastructure in place. Maybe a little bit of a slow start, but they're starting to put things together. Of course, Tampa Bay Sun have had to be creative in terms of avoiding some of the troubles with the Storms. They still have a game in hand, or 2, on the top teams in the area. It is certainly one of those things that we'll keep an eye on. All right, time now to talk with Becky Burleigh. One of the things that we're going to be talking about here, Becky, certainly is what's going on with the U.S. women's national team. What's important right now for Emma Hayes and company as they play 3 games here over the course of the rest of the month?
That's a really good question. I'm sure she's trying to pay a little homage to the run they just had, since this is technically a victory tour. But I think at the same time, there's no coach that can't be looking towards the future. And, you know, in my experience, you kind of have some short-term goals and some longer-term goals. So obviously a long-term goal is the World Cup, but there's some short-term goals too. Like, how do we integrate younger players? What does leadership look like on this team? And clearly they've got those players returning, but you always are trying to develop leadership at the next level too. And so you just have so much limited opportunities to put in so much stuff that there's no way possible you can't be looking to the future.
Now, of course, one of the big games in the future for Emma Hayes comes up in December when she takes the U.S. to Wembley to face England. That'll be a big one for her.
Well, and that's not even going to feel like a friendly. That's going to be like a really amazing atmosphere. And, you know, what a great opportunity, especially for some players who haven't played in an environment like that, to be in that, because I expect that to feel like a World Cup.
Yeah, no doubt. This week, 8 players from the USL Super League were called into international duty. What's that tell you about where this new league is, that there are all these players playing for their countries right now?
Well, I think the fact that this league is attracting players that have been called up for national team duty just says a lot about the league. And it also says a lot about the growth of women's soccer globally. Because, you know, if you look, even like 10 years ago, there was such a hierarchy of the better teams in the world and then the rest. And that's starting to close. We saw that in the last several international competitions where some of these more younger, newer programs of national team caliber are really rocketing up very quickly. And I think some of that has to be due to opportunity. And that's what USL is doing, is it's providing opportunity for some of these players to get experience on the weekly and daily level in training to be able to perform well for their national team.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about the final games of the USL Championship season for these teams trying to clinch a spot in the playoffs. From a coach's perspective, how do you prepare your team for a do-or-die game, for a win-or-go-home situation?
You know, I think the key to games like that is which teams can be close to who they are all along. Because I think if you start to add too much pressure to those games or make it a bigger deal than it is, people try to do too much. And when you try to do too much, you sort of lose what got you there. And so, I think the best advice a coach could give a team in that situation is be us. Be us as much as possible. Stick to what got us here. And, if there's some individual brilliant moments needed, that's our game. That's the game of soccer. But when people are trying to do too much overall due to the magnitude of the moment, that's when usually things go south.
All right, Becky, good stuff. We'll talk to you next week. It's not too early to become a season ticket member of Sporting Jacks. Just go to sportingjacks.com, put down your deposits. $25 reserves your space for the men's or women's team. And if you want to reserve your spot for both, it's just $40. Just go to sportingjacks.com to save your seat for pro soccer in Jacksonville. Still to come, our youth soccer spotlight. We'll let you know what this young man had to say at our high school soccer media day. Omar Trto, perhaps the best boys high school soccer player in the area. That's straight ahead as the Sporting Jacks report rolls on. Sporting Jacks will be unveiling the official kit in the months to come, but already you can get your own Sporting Jacks official merchandise, from t-shirts and hats to sweatshirts and, of course, the scarf. You can find Sporting Jacks official merchandise at sportingjacks.com, at our official team store on Phillips Highway, and at We Got Soccer. It is time now for our Youth Soccer Spotlight, brought to you by the Bearded Pig Barbecue. And now we have a deeper look at one of the stars who took part in our high school soccer media day this week. Mandarin's Omar Trto came to the United States from Bosnia and now is one of the top players in the area. In his 3 years as a varsity player at Mandarin, one of the top programs in our area, Trto has scored 13 goals and contributed 18 assists. This year, he'll be the focal point for Mandarin's opponents. He knows there are high expectations, and he wouldn't want them any other way.
Yeah, I do. Obviously, the expectation is always high. Ever since freshman year, it's always been a high expectation. Obviously, from the coaching staff and from the players, we know what it takes to be in a Mandarin jersey. Obviously, the history and the past results, we always know what it is. So our expectation is always high. We always try to win the trophies, win everything that we're in, and just get the best out of us and from the team. When you're on the team, you feel part of that history. Obviously, the people from the past obviously brought the history to the new players, and that's what it is. But also in games, you feel the pressure because every game, their opponent's like a cup final. We want to keep the unbeaten record every year. And so obviously when we lose, it's devastating because it's like we lost in the final or lost in the important game. So obviously that's really important for us. But for the players, obviously it's a nice feeling that we're part of the history, and that we want to create more history. It drives us to create more history. High school is in every kid's dream to play high school football. Obviously, for me, I just try to keep it humble. I try to just push my teammates. Obviously when I push my teammates, they push me, they drive me to be where I'm at now. So I'm grateful, So yeah, obviously the high school for me and for our teammates is none other like a college. It's none other.
You can really tell by those comments how passionate Omar is about the game and about his opportunity to further the legacy of Mandarin soccer. The Mustangs open the season on November 4th against Atlantic Coast. And we'll have more from our high school soccer media day, looking at some of the top players and teams in the weeks to come on the high school and youth soccer spotlight here on the show. Hey, be sure to join us every Tuesday night at 6 on 1010XL for the Sporting Jacks Soccer Hour. It's on 1010 AM. You can also listen online or on demand at 1010XL.com. Still to come, looking ahead to a big Premier League matchup. That's next as the Sporting Jacks report rolls on. A reminder, you can watch the Sporting Jacks report every Saturday before the start of Premier League broadcasts on NBC 12. You can also find us on demand. Just go to First Coast News Plus or the Sporting Jacks YouTube channel. Coming up in just minutes, it's Everton hosting Fulham. Shad Khan's Premier League club faces Tony Allegretti's favorite team. Fulham is coming off a loss to Aston Villa, while Everton topped Ipswich Town last week. This is a big one for Everton. They're just looking for a result.
Yeah, everything is trying to climb and get themselves where they feel they belong, which is really not top 10. I mean, some would argue based on the history of the club in a top 5. And, they haven't lost in 4 games. They have 2 ties and 2 wins. So they're on the positive spin, one of the hottest teams in the league, if you could say that. But probably one of the biggest surprises of the league is Fulham this year. Now, they've lost 2 in a row, so they got to get back to the winning ways. But they've been playing some good football this year, and they've been competing at a high level.
Well, there are some other matches as well. Tomorrow, the big one, of course, is going to be Arsenal against Liverpool. Number 1 against number 3 in the table. These are 2 teams that went right down to the wire last year trying to catch Man City. This year, we thought maybe this would be Arsenal's year. Still could be for sure. But what a job for Liverpool so far. After losing Jurgen Klopp, they've been able to keep things going and, in fact, playing even better than ever at the top of the table. This has been a very interesting start to the Premier League season for those teams at the top. Even some of the teams in the mid-table like Fulham to see if they can make that jump up and find a spot in Europe. We are also just through the 3rd match of the week for Champions League. So far, 2 Premier League teams have stood out. Aston Villa and Liverpool have won all 3 matches and earned the 9 points. Liverpool have allowed just 1 goal in 3 matches. Villa has not conceded a single goal. So far, an impressive performance by those 2 clubs, and Man City certainly not far behind as well. It has been a bumper year already for the Premier League, as you might expect. And so every week we want you to make your plans to join us here at noon before the Premier League games on NBC at 12:30. Great way to get your soccer weekend started, to be sure. We have a lot more to come in terms of our youth soccer coverage from the High School Soccer Media Day coming in the near term, and a lot of big things coming around the corner for Sporting Jacks as we look ahead to what could be a very substantial 2026 in local professional soccer. A reminder to follow us on social media as well. It's a great way to stay up to date with what's happening throughout the course of the week for Sporting Jacks. We are on X, we are on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, of course. Make sure to subscribe there, and on TikTok. So wherever you find your social media, you'll find Sporting Jacks with all of the latest information. Thank you so much for watching the Sporting Jacks Report. Mauricio Ruiz will rejoin me next week here in studio. We'll have more from Becky Burleigh as well for our entire team. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next week.